Hey folks, Richard Walls here helping you with career development and personal finance. Wanted to make this video, I'm a little bit late with it, but I wanted to do another mini celebration, a milestone of hitting my 1,000 subscribers. So I appreciate so much everyone that has subscribed already. I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of all the content that I've produced. I put quite a bit of time into it, so hopefully it's worth your time, and sounds like it is based on some of the analytics that I see. So it's good to hear, and I get a lot of good feedback and comments that certainly make this all the more worthwhile. So again, thank you for all of that. I want to spend a little bit of time reviewing some of the analytics because I think it might be interesting to some other content creators out there that are also in the personal development or career development and finance niche. I'll also share with you one trick. I'm going to call it a trick. That sounds very clickbaity, but it's a trick that I use to great effect, which is trend hacking, or that is to say, creating video on topics that are trending in Google or trending in YouTube. So I'll show you how I use that to get a good boost. Of course, that's a fairly temporary phenomenon, but nonetheless, it helped me out quite a bit as I closed the gap to 1,000 subscribers. At the time of making this video, I'm just a little bit north of 1,200. So a little bit late with this video, but nonetheless, let's get to it. All right, here we are on my analytics page in YouTube Studio. And right now I have it to the last 28 days. I've got it in real time, so I'm always checking this stuff out, maybe a little bit obsessively, probably more than I should. But nonetheless, we can take a look at some of the trends that we've been happening. I'll open this up to lifetime. So I started this channel in May 16 of 2020 of last year. We're in the new year now, it's 2021. And you'll see a pretty slow and steady growth, and this is built on a lot of foundational pieces that I put into place as far as my channel branding, what I was going to be discussing, so I'm not all over the place with my topics. It's really, again, related to career development, personal finance, which again has a lot of its own subtopics, but nonetheless made it clear early on what the channel was going to be about. So I think that's helped me in terms of subscriber base. Right now what we're looking at is just views. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I found really interesting, because as a new content creator, you're trying to be discovered. And that's the biggest challenge, because people with massive subscriber bases already, they can make a video on just about anything. They can title it whatever they want, and they'll rack up tens of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands, millions in very few cases. But they can make a video on anything, and there's no discovery problem. Whereas for new content creators, it very much is an issue, because you can't just post whatever video you want and expect to see massive or great results. You have to be creating videos on topics that people are searching for. So SEO, search engine optimization, is absolutely key here, not just for YouTube, but for Google as well, if you're doing any kind of blogs and you're trying to get discovered there. And part of that is understanding trends that might be happening. Again, it has to be related to what you're doing videos on, so it's not just a random video, it has to fit into what you're doing. And this is where I used trend hacking. You might have heard that phrase. Trend hacking sounds very clickbaity, but I'm going to use that because it worked. It worked in this case, temporarily at least. I had one spike, you'll see here in terms of views. I had one spike in the month of October. This is when I did a video on NIO stock, which is an electric vehicle maker based out of China that had been doing very well. So I made a video at that point in time when there was a lot of search traffic and not yet a lot of competition. So this helped me out quite a bit in terms of view count and, more importantly, watch time. It didn't help me out, however, on subscribers. I'm going to switch over to that really quick. You'll see this has been fairly up and down for a pretty long time. So no discernible trend. I've got some up days and some down days as well. But in the case of that video, it didn't quite help. And I think it was a video I didn't spend a ton of time on doing research. Everything I said was correct. Generally, my message around stocks is to get index funds. But if you're doing stock investing, just be aware of some of the risks. And I make sure to call all that stuff out. But I think people have a very strong opinion of certain stocks, and so I don't know what that says about what happened between the disconnect between views and subscribers, but it didn't happen here, which I found kind of surprising. Now I retested this theory again in the future, and you'll see 3 huge spikes. I mean, well above and beyond what my channel does normally. And a smaller spike here, and seeing some good things happening here on some older videos. But these 3 spikes are on videos that I did on Pfizer stock. And if you've been paying attention to the news at all, you'll know that the FDA in the UK, have approved a vaccine from Pfizer and a company called BioNTech. And so I did a video on that explaining some of the nuances of the stock and what to expect. And at that time, there was not a lot of competition. I actually use TubeBuddy, which you see here at the top, to do keyword research. And so when I researched Pfizer, there didn't appear to be a ton of competition, but there was a lot of search traffic for especially the term Pfizer stock. So I made sure that in those videos, which you see down here, they're some of the more recent ones, Pfizer stock, the real risks of investing, Pfizer stock versus Moderna stock, Pfizer stock worth buying. So you'll notice that I put that keyword term that I'm trying to rank for up front. And it just so happened that there wasn't a lot of competition here, so I happen to be able to rank pretty well for it. Again, that's fairly short-lived. As it is the case with any trends, it's a trend. It comes into the picture and it dies out not long after that. But nonetheless, I struck while the iron was hot. After the first video did so well, I ended up making another video not very long after that. That was December 8th on my second video. December 3rd was my first one. And then again on the 12th. So 3 videos on Pfizer stock in different angles that I approached the topic, which helped out quite a bit, and it led to a lot of views, a lot of watch time, and also very important here is subscribers. So a lot of people happen to like this content, and I've gotten more subscribers, in this period of time than, in any other period. So that definitely helped me close the gap. And by December, I think 13th, it might have been, that's when I hit the 1,000 subscriber milestone. And right now at 1206. So again, that's all good. And it helped me close the gap. It helped me reach more of an audience. And that was something I was very pleased to learn about. You kind of hear about some of these tricks and you don't know if they'll work or not. But again, as a small content creator, it's always worth experimenting. In this case, it certainly paid off. And beyond that, again, like I mentioned earlier, some of the foundational elements that I included in my channel, like my branding and what my topics were, and how I structured my videos, I made sure that they are consistent in terms of how it starts, how it ends. I have a very consistent structure and format. It helps me just do these videos easier, more quickly, and I'm not having to think so much about how I'm going to start and still have to write out my script, of course. But some of these videos that I had posted months back that didn't see a lot of traction ended up seeing a good amount of traction later on. And so this is one of them. What is an MBA degree? It didn't do all too well, and I'm going to expand this a little bit. Well, actually, before I go into that one, here's one. Top three best sites for online courses. Review of Udemy, edX, Coursera. Early on, wasn't nothing to brag about. The view count was fairly low, but again, it was a good search term. And over time, this ended up being one of the better performing videos in recent history. So again, this is released back in July, one of my early videos, and has ended up performing quite well. The first video I posted, is an online MBA worth it? That's always been a strong performer, and it's actually declined a little bit. So it's still in the mix of one of my higher performers. But here's another one that I thought was interesting. Harvard Online Business School for only $22.50. Early on, had a big spike when I launched it. I think it was a good topic. And over time, it just kept racking up views. And I think you'll see some of the average view duration, some of the average percentage viewed. You'll see that the retention rate, in my opinion, my book, is quite good. So they're hovering around the 40 to 50% range. Some of the longer videos, like this top 3 best sites for online courses, that I'm not so much worried about the percentage, but the view duration, that's what's really important to YouTube. But here's the other video that ended up doing really well as of recently. What is an MBA degree? So early on, good spike initially at launch, and then not a whole lot going on for the month of November. Launched at end of October. Not a ton of activity in the month of November. And December, all of a sudden, we're seeing these huge spikes in traffic. So again, just some more context for you to take a look at. If you make a video and it doesn't immediately gain traction, that doesn't mean it will never gain traction. That's a question that I had that one content creator I follow quite a bit, who I enjoy, is Nick Nimmin. I'll link in the description below to his YouTube channel, but I found it very useful. That was a question I actually asked in one of his live Q&As that he has every Saturday morning. But again, it can perform poorly at the beginning and end up being one of your better videos. So sometimes you just have to give it time. You've got the video, you've got the product on the shelf. It's just a matter of it getting visibility, getting picked up by YouTube's algorithm, and succeeding. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share. The trend hacking was probably one of the more insightful things that has happened from my 500 subscribers to my 1,000. So all in, was able to get to 1,000 subscribers in a little less than 7 months. And I know plenty of people do it quite a bit faster, some also a little bit slower. But I think what's important for me and my channel is to continue to make content that I enjoy creating on topics that I enjoy talking about. As appealing it is for me to make some of those stock videos for the sake of views and more subscribers, it's something I enjoy. If the right company, the right stock comes around. I've got plenty of stocks that I would love to talk about, but I want to make sure that my channel has or is providing value to enough of my people, providing the value that I said I would provide in terms of career development. So it can't just be, me churning out a bunch of stock videos for 2 months. What's that going to mean for the subscribers that came for career development? So that being said, I want to try to make sure to spread evenly the topics that I do on the channel. So it's not just one topic for 2 months straight and then another topic for 2 months straight. It's scattered across the timeline of this channel existing. And because I don't have all the time in the world, posting once a week is probably my max in most cases. Sometimes I can get away and do up to 2. And when I've really got a fire in my belly, I can do even 3 videos. But again, very few and far between. But ultimately, I have to do something that's right for my schedule and something that's sustainable. So that's something I would recommend to all of you watching if you also have a YouTube channel, regardless of whatever content you post about. But just make sure it's something you enjoy doing and you don't burn yourself out. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you found the analytics piece of this useful. And again, thank you for the 1,000 subscribers, now a little over 1,200. Hope again the content continues to be useful. If you haven't subscribed already and you came across this video, go ahead and make sure to subscribe. But this might be one of the last ones I do on any kind of milestone. I'll probably, sprinkle some YouTube analytics videos and how to look at this in the coming months, but for now I'll leave it at this. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.